Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you today to another of our cross-market webinars that we have for Las Vegas market and High Point market. Today, we have a presentation by Melissa Galt, and she'll be presenting on how to build your resources and relationships to increase revenue. This is CEU accredited, so if you signed up through Zoom, you'll receive email with that information afterward. And if you're watching by Facebook or YouTube, you can email me, Kimberly Porter, at kporter@imcenters.com, and I'll send you that information. Without any further ado, Melissa, take it away.
Thanks a million, Kim. I really appreciate it and delighted to be here. So I want to welcome you all to how to build your resources and relationships to increase revenue. It's a very big title. For actually what this means is sourcing shortcuts and secrets that are going to build your bank account. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's dive into this. First of all, I want to congratulate you. And if you don't know me at all, you've got to know that I'm a cocktail gal. So I brought the dog with the cocktail today because you deserve to be congratulated for taking time out of your business to work on it instead of being buried by it. And I know you're probably buried right now. All of my clients that I coach are buried right now because the design demand has never been higher. And it's a very cool place to be playing in. So let's make it a little easier and gentler on you. I've got some gifts for you. You do not have to take screenshots, okay? Relax, breathe, learn. I'm going to send you the slides in PDF so that you can relax and learn. I'm also going to send you a list of outsourced virtual design helpers to save you some time. And if you'd like a design business diagnostic by Zoom, it's a one-to-one with me where we look at what's going on in your business, what's working, what's not, and how to close that gap. You can head over to Instagram, follow me there. And in my link tree, you'll see a link to apply for that. So I want to make this a learning experience. I'm hoping that you've got your success guide in front of you because you're going to be able to fill in all those blanks and be able to implement what you learned today immediately into your business for rapid and rich results. All right, let's rock and roll. What is a successful business? My definition and that of the designers that I coach is one that informs and inspires. It serves and supports, and it fuels and feeds the whole of your life. It doesn't swallow you whole. And I know that you may be struggling right now, feeling swallowed whole by purchasing, sourcing, and procurement. Notice my word choices. They're very specific. I do not use the shopping word. Shopping is what homeowners do. Shopping is what consumers do. We are professionals. We source. We procure. We purchase. Your words will define your world and your worth. Pay very close attention to them. So now that you know what a successful design practice is, let's see if we can make yours even more so. Why do you want to build a trade resource team? First of all, it's going to save you gobs of time and resourcing for projects. You're going to locate product that you didn't know existed and it's a perfect fit. Because let's face facts, your reps know their lines inside out. At least they should, okay? The reps that I've had the privilege of working with, whether they're at Noir Trading, Left Bank Art, Oli Studio, Norwalk, Howard Elliott, and dozens more, they know their product. I can't begin to know their full line, so I need to rely on them and their expertise to provide the right recommendations for each project. You're also going to save money on hiring and on office space because they don't need a desk in your space, do they? They're by phone, they're by computer, they're by text. So this really does make a whole lot of sense. It eliminates countless hours of search by relying on the experts you already know. We've all been down those rabbit holes. I went down a couple of them just last week. Online, looking for something because I had the time to do it and it was something I really wanted to look for, or I would have called my rep and said, hey, actually 2 or 3 of them, I'm looking for this. Here's what I need. Here's my price point. Here's my style. What you got? Send me some options in the next couple of days. Yeah, it can be that easy. And here's the beautiful part. You can be as big or small as you need to be as a design practice while remaining totally flexible with team that you call as needed. When I was probably in my first 5 years in design, I got asked a lot by potential clients, how big are you? How many projects do you work on at a time? And you know, it's funny, I never really knew the right answer. I didn't know what they were looking for me to say. And the reality was I could be as big as I needed to. So I would literally turn it back to them and say, I can be as big as you need me to be because my team is flexible. It's not about my boots on the ground. It's about my rep and trade team. That's the team that really counts. That's the team that makes it all possible. So what you're going to learn here today, what that success guide that you downloaded is designed to do, is to show you how to build a team without hiring or managing anyone. Doesn't that sound great? Can I tell you a little secret? I suck at managing people. I'm horrible at it. So by having a flexible team of my reps, I don't have to manage them. I just need to know who to call on which project. And it makes all the difference. I want you to stop buying retail. This terrifies me for you because you're spending way too much money, you're losing bottom line, and you're losing profit. And it's not necessary. I want you to get the trade pricing you deserve. I want you to leverage your trade partners for more profitable projects. I'm going to show you how to do that. I want you to make each project as original as your client and stand out to get published. And how to maximize social media with your trade partners and vendor team. So there are 20 types of trade team members to identify and have. Okay, I'm going to walk you through these right now. Receivers and installers, you got to have them. Don't try to fly without them. Drapery workrooms. There's an S on the end of every one of these for a reason. I want you always having a backup. A backup. I literally just got off the phone with a coaching client this morning in Texas, and she said, well, we've got this one workroom we love. I said, do you have a backup? She said, we do, but they're not as good quality. I said, then you need another backup that is. You always want to have more than one in every given category. And in some categories, you're going to have 3 and 5. Drapery workrooms, minimum 2. Upholstery workrooms, minimum 2. Artists and craftspersons, unlimited. Flooring and carpet, 3, 5. What number works for you? Rugs, gosh, you could have 12 of those vendors. Upholstered furniture. Now, you're going to have your favorites on all of these, but I still want you to share the love. So that means that you might have Norwalk unupholstered. You might also be using Universal unupholstered. On case goods, you could be using Oli for case goods, and you may have 6, 7, 8 other case good vendors. You may have 12 or 20 case good vendors. Accents and accessories. Noir is one of my favorites for those kind of pieces. Left bank art is great on the artwork side of it, but there are also other vendors equally great that you want to explore and build relationships with. Never put all your eggs in just one basket. Drapery, bedding, and soft goods. Incredible category. Lots of great resources through Vegas and High Point both. Tabletop. And you may not do a lot with tabletop, but I know the last time I was at Vegas, they had a lot of tabletop vendors. in one of the buildings in particular. And in High Point, it's a bit more scattered on tabletop. Atlanta, America's Mart has fantastic tabletop. Lamps and lighting, you definitely want 4, 5, and 6 vendors on this. Hardware, plumbing fixtures. See, you didn't realize that you probably have all of these vendors already and how rich your business is because of it. And if you don't have them, well, now you got some homework to do. Let's give you the next 5. Kitchen cabinets. Now, my favorite with kitchen cabinets is to have a ready to assemble an RTA line and then a couple of custom guys. I've always had a couple of custom guys in Atlanta, and I even had the both of them on the same project because we had such a tight deadline and so much cabinetry to do. I had one of them working the kitchen, one of them working the bathroom, and they were both working on the closets for me, and they worked together really well. Countertops, electrician, plumber, painter, decorative artist, faux finisher. We work with a lot of trades. That's a big deal. And I want you to own the fact that coordinating these people and selecting the right fits for each project is a very big talent. So I'm hoping at this point you're feeling kind of like, wow, this is a big deal, because it is. And subsequently you are. Success tips: maintain more than one resource in every category. Mandatory, mandatory, mandatory. Be sure to use your backup, especially when it's a drapery workroom, an installer, on occasional projects, so they're prepared to work with you and understand your expectations. If you don't ever use them and you spring an emergency on them, you're asking for trouble. Don't do it. Okay? Keep your backup busy. Not as busy as your favorite, but busy. So why trade partners and team matter? Because you can keep calm and do more with less. I had to include this. I love this. The team that took me to 7 figures, I had an accountant as needed, an attorney, AKA legal shield. Yes, I am an advocate. My virtual bookkeeper, my virtual webmaster, a part-time intern, full-time assistant, and my 30 to 50 trade partners. Now, I'm not kidding when I say this, because most of the time when you hear of design firms crossing that 7-figure magical mark, they've got 5 or 7 or sometimes even 8 team members. I did it with this. Okay, so I run lean and mean. I always have, because I have my trade partners who are incredibly valuable. I've done 5 show houses with trade team. My average investment in a show house out of pocket for me is $2,500 to $5,000. Does that shock you? It should, because I know designers who've dropped $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and more doing a show house, one room. This happens to be Serenbe. It didn't actually look like that. This is a gorgeous rendering though. And I did the front porch, which had many more stairs to it. And I did the side porch, and I did them as living spaces. And I was able to negotiate with a vendor I'd never purchased from, who'd seen me at markets. I'd had conversations with them, enjoyed his product, and they wanted to be part of it. And they took care of all of it for me. Along with some little addendum pieces that I picked up from different accessory sources and things like that. But the big pieces were all taken care of for me because I built these relationships. And I want you to build these relationships too. So I invested in the design, not the materials. My trade partners contributed. So my mantras and goals for every designer I coach, and that means for you too, because I am here as a coach and consultant and trainer today, is I want you to earn more in less time with less stress. Okay? I want you to invest 80% of your time in design, 20% on your business. Now, I know that that's not what you've been told has to happen. I know you've been told that you're supposed to spend 80% of your time on the business and just 20% of your time in design. I don't know about you, but that's not why I got into the design business. I wanted to do design 100% of the time. So let's give it back to you at 80. And this is one of the ways you're going to strategically and appropriately outsource sourcing. Okay? Outsource what you don't love and aren't good at. There's no badge of honor for doing it all. Now, I have a little confession to make on that note. I'm a rock star at sourcing. My first career path was in hospitality purchasing. So I worked in a myriad of different properties. I moved every 8 months for 5 years, cities, states, and companies in the purchasing departments, ordering all the food and beverage, all the housekeeping. If you ate it, wrote it, drank it, or slept on it, I bought it. Okay, so I have a little bit of a background in this, and it serves me really well, and it's now here to serve you. So stop buying retail and get the trade pricing you deserve. You need to know the terminology. Net, the price you pay for trade goods as a designer. It's called designer net for a reason. List is the price that is quoted by a trade resource to your clients, unless you are transparent and have told your trade sources they don't have to quote anything other than net. Okay, that's your choice. Wholesale is a bulk price quoted to retailers by manufacturers. Retail is a multiplier of wholesale. It's often 3 times or more for consumers to be quoted. And stocking dealer price is exclusively for dealers with storefronts or showrooms, or you, if you'll meet the minimum to make that happen. And there is a significant gap, so you know, between designer net and stocking dealer. So if you are willing to invest to get stocking dealer, you will have a lot more showing up at your bottom line. Designer price, design trade net, and designer net. That's normally what you're going to be asking for. And accommodation order. I included this because I found myself early on at a lot of markets, especially in Atlanta, where I was based, wanting 1 or 2 pieces, whether it was for me or for a project. We always shop for ourselves, goodies for us when we go to market. And sometimes the minimums at the time would be too high. Now, a lot of the manufacturers have brought down their minimums to be much more designer friendly in the last 10 years in particular. Keep in mind, I've been at this for a long time. So they weren't always so friendly, and I'm thrilled that they are friendly to us now. It really makes a difference. But you can ask for an accommodation order. What it means is they will provide a discount of their choosing, but allow you to buy whatever you want. So you don't have to buy $5,000 worth or $2,500 worth, or goodness forbid, $10,000 worth. You can buy $200 worth and they'll provide a discount. It may not be full designer net because you're not hitting a minimum. But always ask for an accommodation order if you're not going to meet minimums. So to get trade pricing, yes, you do have to have your sales tax ID. Your employer ID is optional. Your business banking information and your trade credit references. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Some of you are like, well, yeah, duh, Melissa, we know that. But some of you don't know it. So that's why I'm sharing it. I'm also sharing it because what I've done in every market, even now in markets, while we've gone digital, I still bring extra copies of these documents stapled together in little envelopes with me so that if I want to open an account immediately, boom. I'm not having to dig anything up on my laptop, and I'm not having to wait until the end of the day to send it over. I can hand it to them in the moment and say, if you'd like digital copies, my assistant will get them to you, but I want to get the account opened now. If you wait until the end of market, sometimes you're going to lose 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and more. I've had clients experience that, especially with the demand that's going on right now. The manufacturers are bearing the brunt of that also. They are trying to take care of the backlogs. They are trying to deliver in a reasonable time frame. Upholstery in many places has climbed to 30 weeks. Now, I happen to have a couple of cool resources that are 10 and 12, but I'm hanging on to those for clients in my projects. Although I might be able to sneak tell you if you reach out to me on Instagram. We'll see. So partner for more profit, and there's a process for this. Okay, it's a simple process. It's not hard. Contract signed by the client for a project. If you are not using an agreement, a contract, we need to chat. Okay, you need to be protected. Your client needs to be protected as well. So the moment you do that, I want you to identify and notify key trade partners with the style, scale, and price point requirements. Because let's face facts, you and I, when we walk into a space, we know in the first, in my case, it's usually 30 seconds. Sometimes it takes a whole 3 minutes, but I've already visualized the whole thing complete. You have too. Now, wouldn't it be awesome if clients could just like say, well, could you show me that? We could push a button on the side of our head and up it would pop holographically. It doesn't happen that way. So instead, we have to go back and do floor plans and renderings and elevations and selections and mood boards and all of that. But you don't have to do all of that before you notify your trade resources, your trade partners. You already know when you walked into this space, you're thinking, wow, we're going to skip a sofa here. We're going to do a sectional. And I think I've already got that piece from Norwalk that I want to place in here. Or it might be, gosh, you know, when I entered the house, that foyer really is missing. Yeah, I think a mirror would be perfect there. I'm going to get hold of Howard Elliott for that one. You got into their bedroom and you remembered suddenly, oh, that bed from Oli would be amazing in here. Okay, so you already have a rough idea. Now, you're not going to use just one vendor each. It's going to be at least 2 or 3 vendors, 2 or 3 reps you're going to contact with the same brief. And then you're going to give them a deadline of when you need the selections by. Now, some of you are like, oh, I couldn't do that. Why not? Why not? Because you know what? Your reps aren't meant to be order takers. You're meant to either call in your orders or email in your orders. You're not meant to give them to your reps. Your reps are there to serve you in the selection of ideal product. It's really what they're there for. And I'm going to share this now, and it's a little bit of a sticky topic, but I've had it happen to me. If you have a rep that is not serving you well, that you're either at loggerheads or they're not delivering on the knowledge that you need, on the selections that you've asked for, get hold of the company and explain that you need a different rep. And in my case, I was always willing to forego them coming to see me physically. I was always willing to say, hey, I just need them online. You know, I don't care where they're based. I just need them online. I need them via the phone. I need them via the computer. But we're not having a good rapport over here. And I don't know why that's happening, but it is. And I've had some of my designers that have approached me recently with companies that are stretched thin, running hard, and they're having issues with the reps. So I'm aware of that. If you have a rep that you need to be replaced, talk to the company. It could be as simple as just a really bad personality fit. It happens. But you need the help that you need. So ask for it. Craft a timeline of the selection decisions. Okay, provide the timeline to your trade partners to ensure deadlines will be met. You don't want them suggesting pieces that aren't going to meet your deadlines. That is not going to work. Okay, by the way, if you're doing projects without deadlines, that's a problem. Every project needs a deadline, whether it's 90 days, 30 days, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. You need a deadline. You will make far more money in far less time when you have a deadline. It also will be far less frustrating for clients. Notify your installers, workrooms, and more of your deadlines. Provide deposits as necessary so they block time on their calendar for your project, and you get paid up front. I'm not asking you to pull money out of your pocket. You should have the monies you need from your client for deposits for your workroom, for installers, and installers get stretched thin and running hard too. So I always call my installer. Usually I try to give him a month notice. Every once in a while it'll creep down to 2 weeks, but I run a big risk then because he's busy. He handles a lot of designers and demand is really high right now. And so that makes a difference. Could I use my backup? Yeah, I could. But whenever I can get Stan, I will. He's my favorite. And he's been with me for a very long time, probably 20 years. So these are the kind of relationships you want, the 20-year relationships. We have a shorthand between us now. You know, I know that I can leave Stan on a job. I don't think twice about it. I don't show up for installs anymore. I gave that up years ago. That's the kind of installer you want. Review the first round of trade partner recommendations. So when they come back with their recommendations, You want to review those, provide key feedback. Don't just ignore them. If you're one of those who doesn't get to your email on a regular basis, and boy, there are some designers out there like that, that's not fair. That's not professional. You really need to stay on the ball. Review the second round of trade partner recommendations because you pinged them back and said, hey, that's really close. I need something a little different. Now, when you're asking them for recommendations, you're giving them parameters. So if you were to say to 2 or 3 reps, hey, I'm looking for a sofa. I need 90 inches. I want a track arm. I want 3 cushion. I'm looking for spring down. And I'm planning on a COM. So give me the COM pricing. But if you've got a really fantastic chenille in a sagey kind of a green, I want a sample of that, and I want it, you know, the price with the coating in on it. And and by the way, I'm going to want nail head trim on that. You got to give them all the details to make this a win-win. If you're just going to say, I'm looking for a 90-inch sofa, this is going to be a complete disaster. Okay. You also want to say, oh, and I'm looking for a 16-week delivery. Or, you know what, I'm good on the 24 weeks. This is going to be a long term. Or, you know what, we got a rush job on this. So I'm going to need your express program. What have you got that'll fit? There are a number of vendors out there who have express programs. Express used to mean 1 to 2 weeks. Now that has crept into 2 to 4 weeks. That's still express, and they're still doing it, and it's still upholstery. Okay. So look for those opportunities. Finalize your selections, and then create your purchase orders. You generate your invoices for client payment. You never, ever, ever order, purchase, procure without client payment. Okay. One of my mantras is, I want you working into the money. I don't want you ever chasing it. That means services and product are paid in advance of installation, always. At the point at which you install, there should be no more than maybe a few $100 due you. Perhaps it's a little extra freight, very prevalent these days. Please don't wait until the end to bill for your freight. You can do an estimated freight built into your invoices previously. Absolutely. The most likely scenario, if a client is going to stiff you on an invoice, it will be the last invoice. I see stories of this happening on Facebook, so I know it's happening. I don't like it. It shouldn't. And the way to guard against it is to get the money in advance. Put all selections on your order and provide paperwork to your receiver installer at the point you're placing the orders. Why would you wait? If you wait, you're going to forget. You're going to call your receiver and say, you know, I think you're going to be expecting some things from Left Bank and Howard Elliott and Four Hands. We've got a big order coming in from Four Hands. Well, that doesn't really help them. They need to know exactly which pieces. They need to know what they're looking for. So you need the documentation. It needs to have a picture of the piece. It needs to have the dimensions of the piece. You need all of that for your receiver and installer. You really, really do. Please don't skip this step. It's way too often skipped, and you wind up with a mess on your hands. Track orders and verify progress. Yes, I know this is painful, but you have to do it. Maintain the timeline. Schedule the installation. Okay. Goods on approval. Some projects will have this, some don't. Depends kind of on your market and how you work. I have done a ton of goods on approval. It was way more fun before the internet. I know, does that date me? I guess it does a wee bit. But here's the thing. Up to about 10 years ago, I could do a lot of goods on approval. Around the, 2008, 2010 scenario, we lost a lot of really great retailers. And we lost a lot of goods on approval opportunities. And it was where you sweep local resources in person to make selections. And in my case, I would go through my favorites. I would sweep. They would come behind me with a clipboard. I never wrote anything down. I never took that time. They would then say, Melissa, I'll have it ready for, I had an assistant named Melissa. How convenient. I'll have it ready for Melissa this afternoon. And my assistant would run up there. She would pick everything up. It would all be wrapped. They would have a list with all the pricing on it. It was a brilliant way to do it. And I encourage you to do that if you're still doing goods on approval. You can do it online. It's got to be quick ship, and you've got to know the return policies. And if you're having to pay return freight, it might not be such a great thing. If, however, you place similar pieces on multiple projects, or you have vendors like Left Bank Art, like Howard Elliott, like Noir, that have a range that you can stock a few pieces, call it an accessory closet in your office. It's a really good idea to do that. So you have those fun elements rather than the popular route I keep hearing, which scares me a little bit, which is home goods and TJ Maxx. And the reason that scares me is because your client can walk in there on their own and do that. So I really would prefer it if you were getting from trade resources. Okay. Deliver the room or the home. We hope it's the whole home, but maybe it's a room. That's cool. If finishing touches are complete, you're not doing the goods on approval. Bask in the glow of rave reviews. And by the way, this picture, I want you to pay attention. See, the guys are in matching shirts. What if your receiver / installers weren't wearing their own brand? What if they wore yours? Ooh, ask them about it. Can you provide t-shirts? Maybe you provide a t-shirt that has your name on the back of it and then the receiving company on the front. You could do a dual branding. Really makes you look like a pro and makes you look kind of like you own the company. And you only want to do that if you have a really good receiver. Don't do it if you have a sketch receiver. Okay. Send your intern and assistant to pick up the wrapped goods as if you're doing goods on approval, and deliver and install the project for client approval. The big reveal is not complete. Yes, I did use an HGTV term, but the big reveal is not complete until all the accents accessories are in place. Okay, it's not complete. And in case you're thinking, oh, Melissa, well, I don't use a receiver because everything is delivered straight to my client's doorstep. Stop it. Stop that. That's not being a designer. That's being an hourly shopper for your clients. You are better than that. I want you to up your game. And I want you to get a receiver, and I want you to do big reveals. The best thing to come out of HGTV, and some of you are ready to leap through the screen right now and go, what's she talking about? Nothing good comes out of HGTV. Yes, it does. I'm going to show you the big reveal. That was the greatest gift they could have given to designers, because now you can say to your client, well, I work to the big reveal. So you know how on HGTV, you don't get to see your room until it's truly ready? And your client's going to, well, oh, yeah, sure. Well, that's how we work too. Boom. You just leveraged HGTV for the good. Now, there's lots of other ways you can leverage HGTV and all the fiascos and things, but we're not here to talk about that today. But I do want you to work into the big reveal, whether it's a big reveal of one room, several rooms, the whole house, a level, a basement, whatever it is. I want you to work into the big reveal, because here's what you may not have realized. If you are not working into the big reveal, you are actually creating problems for yourself with the client. Remember, you and I have the ability to see the room complete before it ever happens. We can believe it before we see it. Clients can't. So when you have that chair delivered by itself, and then next week the sofa's rolling in, and then 2 weeks later the coffee table shows up, in the meantime, they're going, gosh, I don't know, this chair doesn't seem like the right chair. I think we made a mistake on this chair. You know, and you're going, oh, but when it comes in the whole room, stop. Just design and deliver into the big reveal. It's so much simpler. Yes, it's going to cost the client a little bit more of an investment, because you're not working on budgets, are you? If you know me at all, you know that's a word that I will never use. I don't care if the client's at 2,000, 20,000, 200,000, or 2 million. It's an investment. Always. Don't use the B word. Okay? So send thank yous with images of the project to trade partners. Now, the images that you're going to send are your images, your phone images. You've taken them. These are casual. These are not the pro images. It's a very important distinction, and we're going to get to why that matters. You can share on social media and tag as appropriate with appreciation. Do this. You'll find out which of your vendors is on the ball because they'll reciprocate. But say thank you. And some of your reps will have their own pages. Share it on their walls, share it on their feeds, tag them, all of that. Okay, this really matters. Say thank you. It's a great relationship builder. Create original projects to stand out. Now, I know that sounds basic and fundamental, but we get trapped in our lazy loop. And sometimes all of our projects start to look alike. I've been to countless Instagrams where I was like, wait, is this like one ginormous project? Because everything looks the same to me. I'm not sure that's good, even if you've got a signature style. So I like standout things. I love, love, love this bookcase. This bookcase just delights and excites me. I love the chairs. I think the chairs are nappable, and that's how I measure a really good chair, if I can nap in it. Plus, I can cross my legs in these chairs. I love chairs I can cross my legs in. So these chairs are nappable, cross your leggable, with an incredibly interesting bookcase behind them. I love that. Mix your vendors uniquely for each project. If you are using the same vendors on every project, that is your lazy loop. Stop it. Stop it. You've got to branch out. You've got to up-level your game. Make sure each project stands out and is as unique as your client. You do not want your client taking a tour of several of your projects and finding the same pieces. Tacky. Avoid the trap of favorite pieces. We all have them. Fabrics, keep it fresh, even if it's your signature style. Now, I have a signature fabric, but you know what it is? It's chenille. Well, I can put a chenille in any project because there's 10 million chenilles out there. It's not one chenille I'm attached to. It's just that type of fabric. It's a format of fabric, as it were. Okay? So I am committed to balancing materials. I like to mix materials. I don't like projects to be too heavy on the wood side, too heavy on metal, too heavy on glass. I like to really mix it. So whether your project is 2K, 20K, or 200K, you want to find something fresh and original to include. Leveraging your trade team gives you more time to work on this. When they're covering the basics of the room, you're out there looking for that unicorn piece. The one that the client goes, oh my gosh, I have to have that. And you're like, well, it's a bit beyond your current investment. They're like, I don't care. How much is it? And I'll do it. Okay. So this is how you double, triple, and quadruple investments in projects. I've always been able to do that just inherently. I do not push, I do not sell, and I do not manipulate ever. I simply feel that one of our roles as a designer, one of our core essential roles, our reasons for being, is to show the client what they didn't know existed and now they can't live without it. That's a writer downer. I want you putting that on a sticky note. I want you putting it on your monitor. I want you putting it in your car on the dash. I want you putting it on your bathroom mirror. My role as a designer is to show my client what they didn't know existed, what they don't know exists, and now they can't live without it. Okay? Really important. Focus on finding one-of-a-kind pieces. That's where your artists, your craftsmen, even your Etsy's come in. Okay? Add a pot piece. I got a boatload of pot pieces in this room. I love this room for that reason. I've got some very curious looking kind of pot pieces by the fireplace, which if it had been my design and it was not my design, I would have removed those because I love the fireplace just as is. So yeah, hypercritical. We all do it. We all look at somebody else's room and we go, I would have done this differently. So I love the chairs. I call these vertebra chairs because they remind me of your backbone. I love the chairs. I think this is really a fun little table with the feet on it. It reminds me of not an elf and not a gremlin, a dwarf a little bit. I think of Snow White and Seven Dwarfs because I think of their shoes. It's just a childhood memory, apparently. This chair is very cool, the black leather chair that to me, it looks like it should be a rocking chair because it's tipped back so far. And I know that if I got into that and I couldn't rock my way out, I'd be stuck. So there you have it. Love this light fixture. A lot of pop pieces in here. Okay. And that's your job because you're the one who has those private secret stash resources that only you know about. You don't share those online. Don't give those away. I'm okay if you're sharing major vendors. I'm even okay if you share the occasional artist and craftsman because we don't want them to go out of business either. But share them behind the scenes with fellow designers. You don't have to share it all online, okay? Make it a piece with a story or a piece with a special meaning for your client. If this client were a chiropractor, how perfect that he has vertebra chairs. How fun is that? What if he's a podiatrist? He's got a table with feet on it. That's kind of fun. Obviously, this also works for somebody who's kind of mid-century modern because this chair, this black leather chair, definitely looks mid-century modern. I assume it's leather. I can't really tell. It might not be leather. It could be a whole different material. Be unforgettable in all you deliver. Be unforgettable. Exceed the Joneses. You know that expression, keep up with the Joneses? The heck with the Joneses. Just, the Joneses are here and they got a bunch of people following them. You want to be here. You want to reset what the Joneses are looking for. That's what you want to do. Okay. Recognize your trade partners via social media. And I have referenced this, but you do not need to tag the piece, just the vendor with appreciation. Okay. If they are online and savvy, they will reciprocate. It's a win-win for all. You're partners in this. Partners. Okay. When you have your project photographed, professionally photographed, please don't think you can pull this off by yourself. Don't ask your buddy down the street, unless your son or daughter is in professional photography school. Don't ask them to do it. Please don't have a real estate photographer take your shots either. You will get lots of ceiling, lots of wall, lots of floor, and not very much furniture. Okay? Interior design photography is a specialty. It is worth tens of thousands of dollars to you in terms of attracting the right potential clients when you leverage professional photography. I had professional photography done from the moment I opened my doors and did my first project. And I paid for it. And I was okay with that because I knew that it would return to me. And in those early days, it was scary. It was like, gosh, I'm losing incredible amounts of bottom line to this, but it was absolutely worth it because it built my business really quickly. So photography is your friend. If you want to be published, if you're submitting for publication, do not share whole rooms on social media. Don't do it. Okay. And do not give images to trade partners because you don't want them sharing it either. Now you can share just an image of their piece, but not a room shot. And you got to be careful and strategic with the vignettes. Many of the magazines today are counting on you to bring them the photography because their operating expenses have been slashed so hard that they can no longer send out a photographer. Okay, so be aware of that. Publication is priority. You can always share quick non-professional shots on social media, and I want you to. I want you to share the in progress. I want you to share your mood boards. I want you to share your flat lays. I want you to share when you're at a resource and you're flipping through all those panels of fabric that a consumer one time walked into one of those showrooms and said, how come you all have so many shower curtains? Yes, true story from a showroom, believe it or not. So, oh my gosh, the stories I have heard. So you want all of that. You want all of that for social. Some photographers give social media and web rights and charge for magazine publication. You need to find out. If you provide pro images to your trade partners, make sure they have the rights to use them without incurring additional cost. Because if they don't, you need to let them know that they're going to need to have a meeting with your photographer so they can get the rights. Otherwise, you're going to be paying a lot more money. Okay. Trade publications. Some trade vendors have become super savvy and they publish their own magazine, digital or print or both for consumer benefit. Get into those. If your trade partner has done that and you want to be considered, submit. Okay. This comes after any shelter magazine. If you're not familiar with the term shelter, it's the opposite of trade. Shelter means public, like potential client would see it. And again, you need to ensure you have the full rights or will need to pay your photographer additional monies. So yeah, it's important that your photographer is a partner too. So I see we've got some questions, so I'm definitely going to go in and take a look and answer. But before I do, I want to make sure that you have learned the following: how to build a team without hiring or managing anybody. Pretty cool, huh? You feel like you can do this now because you got your reps, they're your team. And this means I want you treating them like team members. I want you recognizing them. I want you send them a Starbucks gift card and say, hey, thanks for all your hard work. Okay. Send them an Amazon gift card, send them an Amex gift card, depending on the level of project and the work that they did for you, because they get paid on the back end. That's why this works. It's free to you, but they get paid when you select their goods. This gives them a much better opportunity to make more revenue. It's a win-win completely. Don't spin their wheels. That's uncool. But when they know that there are other reps out there, not the only rep you have, and that left bank will work extra hard knowing that, hey, we know she's going to go check out this other vendor over here. Norwalk knows there are other upholstery companies out there. Four Hands knows they're not the only game in town. So they're gonna have that opportunity to go, wow, we have the specs, we have the brief. We can really go to town with this. They're gonna be excited. Okay. Stop buying retail and get the trade pricing you deserve. Please don't buy retail anymore. Please don't. You're in the field, you're in the know. You're a member of the trade. Look for trade only. I know a lot of it's online. I see it too, but you still get a benefit by being trade only. Leverage your trade partners for more profitable projects. There should be money straight to your bottom line from doing all of this. Make each project as original as your client and stand out to get published. I don't want you falling into that lazy loop, and we all do it. I am guilty, guilty, guilty. I am. I recognize it because I've been there. So I make sure that every month I investigate at least 3 new vendors to stay on top of things. And I insist that all of my clients do the same. Now, in some cases, my clients have to investigate a lot more than that in certain categories because they've been weak in certain categories. But that's a minimum because there's always new ones coming up, always. So the gifts, again, you're going to get the slides. I promise that. The list of outsourced virtual design help. I don't want you doing it all. Not a good use of your time and genius. I want you in your zone of genius. And then the design business diagnostic is entirely your choice. You can apply at the link on my Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. I'd love to have you there. So let me take a peek at Q&A and see what we got. In asking for real specifics on upholstery, I found my reps always refer me to the company website, especially if it's regarding fabric selection. You know, Janice, I hear you on that. And there is a space where if it is really well laid out on their website, and there are a handful of vendors, I'm not going to say a lot, just a handful. A handful is like maybe 5 that have done a really rock star job on that. But if you are new to it, tell them, you know what, I will absolutely do that. I would still really appreciate your help, your expertise, and your insights. And I want you to use those exact words, because when you ask somebody for their help, okay, most are going to step forward and help you. Now, I'm going to share a little, it's not really a secret, but there's a Mars-Venus difference when you ask for help. Okay. When you ask a man to help you, his first response is an automatic yes. He doesn't even need to know what you need help with. If you ask a woman for help, we are going to say, well, what do you need help with before we say yes or no? Men are programmed to help. It's a lovely programming. It really is. It's phenomenal. If you are running into a male who is not helpful, you need to find someone else in the organization who can help you. Sometimes that person can be in customer service, or you need to find a new vendor. I hate to be harsh like that, but it really matters. Okay, so Kimberly, do you want to step in and answer? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I was actually just taking it off for what we have here. If there are any other questions, please go ahead and you can submit those in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll get to those real quickly.
Yeah, you all can ask me anything you want. I have been in our industry for over 30 years. I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love coaching. Today, design itself is just 5% of my practice. The rest is coaching at 95%. And I would imagine it's probably going to be 150% because I don't do anything by halves. So I love to help designers. I really do. I want to see you succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And many times your dreams aren't nearly as wild as mine are for you. So I want you dreaming bigger. I want you working smarter, not harder. And I want you getting home every night in time for dinner with your family and taking weekends off and still having an incredibly awesome, profitable, lucrative business that you love. So sourcing has been a real time suck for all of my clients. And it's one of the reasons I developed this, because this is how I've always done it. And wow, did it save me time. And it gave me the opportunity to really form partnerships, very profitable ones. And it gave me the time to look for those super special pieces that rock the room and rock my clients' lives. And you have the same option. So if you get any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. We're here to serve and support your success. We truly are. And IMC and Kimberly and her team do an amazing job with that. We're very, very fortunate to have them.
Well, Melissa, we want to thank you for just giving us insight into how to build those relationships and to make our businesses better for all of those in the design community. If you would like to connect with Melissa, you can visit her website at melissagalt.com. And she has a lot of different resources there. We will be sending out a link to her Instagram and the success guide again, along with the CEU information afterward. So please join us on site if you can at our upcoming Vegas market, which is August 22nd through 26th. Thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.